Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Yeah, today I have to talk about, this is a character I remade. I originally was going to make this character a Cleave of Rage character, and ultimately I just wasn't really vibing with Cleave of Rage, and I just really couldn't figure anything out. But the last character I made had a very, very cool, both mallet and cool rune enchant with the Doomfletch enchant for whip and fez damage as extra damage of each element. And I kind of really wanted to do something with it, and I remember in the last video I had talked about doing something with Volcanic Fissure of snaking, and it just kind of wound up that the Scion I had already built that I wasn't really feeling was kind of the perfect candidate to do this with. So, as you can see here, level 94. Sorry, my Sugma is completely terminal. There's nothing I can do about it. I've got so much Sugma, you never even seen somebody with this much Sugma. But anyway, as you can see, level 94, we've made some good progress here. Within the last just like day, I've absolutely grinded this character out because I've just been having so much fun with Volcanic Fissure of snaking. And if you're wondering what the snaking version does, it's that. So you can see it actually travels on the ground and kind of pops around some more, unlike regular Volcanic Fissure that like explodes, drops a bunch of orbs, and that's it. This one you actually slam and it goes off and tracks enemies, and it's really, really good and really fun. I've been having a really good time playing it, so I just kind of wanted to showcase. This feels like a really good one. Like I said, build's really taken off. It has some really expensive pieces. Like, this is definitely not a cheap build that I have here, but it's been a lot of fun. And so here we go. With that, I'm just kind of gonna run a tier 17 that I just have sitting here. I rolled it just a little bit, but and I might get screwed over by both the synthesis boss and temporal chains, but I don't really care that much. It's mostly to showcase kind of mapping and how the build feels overall, and the fact that you absolutely can do tier 17s with this character. Like, the kind of the nice thing about mapping and tier 17s with this character in general is that it's actually really comfy, because you can sit back and let the Fissure go out and track enemies down. So I can just kind of like really sit back, let it go off and do its thing. It's gonna go off, get all the enemies, and hit them. And the other nice thing is you don't really have to worry about war cries that much. Like, I'm built a little bit into war cries, but I always hated doing slam builds because of just having to constantly cycle war cries, right? Like, that's always the thing I was never a fan of, was just sitting there cycling war cries. It just felt really boring to me. But with this, you kind of really don't have to do it all that often anymore, which is great. Like, I can just kind of, like, every now and again, I just kind of tap, like, Seismic Cry, or if it's, like, a really big target, then, you know, I do have 3 war cries, and I will just cycle through them really quick, and then just keep beating the crap out of them. And that's kind of just the rotation with the build, and it feels very, very nice. Feels very, very nice to do and set up. I do know there's Starfall Crate over here. You know what? We'll go do it. I was debating on if I was going to do it for the purpose of the video. Sure, let's do it. Sure, let's do it.
The runic arts do not reveal themselves to just anyone.
So as you see, again, bigger target. So I'm gonna actually use the war price I have set up. I have it's seismic, it's rallying, and it's intimidating. Intimidating is on my second bar. Alright, do your phase, please. Thank you. Okay, he's getting chunked pretty good. Man, I am still bummed out. I could never complete the stupid challenge related to this. I don't understand how you're supposed to dodge the laser. I genuinely don't understand what you're supposed to do there. I genuinely am confused. It feels impossible to not get hit by the laser, because all the rocks are spaced in a way where you have to, like, flash around, but they're not spaced very well. Like, sometimes you're just completely screwed with the distance that they are. Like, that is by far been the most annoying thing to me, has just been the that they added that part of the challenge. Like, thankfully I got the mapping boss finally, but they added that challenge And I was like, dude, it feels impossible to not get hit by his laser. Like, what do you mean? Like, look, that rock's right there. I literally can't do anything. I literally can't go behind that rock because it's right there. Ugh.
Let's test your resolve.
Like, that as a challenge was very, very annoying to me. Like, I'm glad I got the map boss finally to show up, and I got to finish my challenge with the map boss, because this just, like, this guy just felt like he's completely impossible to do that challenge with.
I'm finally starting to enjoy myself.
He is starting to enjoy himself as he's dead. There he goes. But yeah, either way, I mean, that guy is basically meant to be very tanky, and that's kind of about it. But either way, not bad overall. We'll see how the actual boss themselves go, but it was getting chunked pretty good in different areas in there. We'll see how well this boss goes. At the very least, the fortress boss is very simple, I will say. It's mostly just a matter of just dodge lasers. I just don't know how well it'll go with a synthesis boss on top of that. But we'll kind of try to rush our way along now. I don't know where these maps are really big, and I don't really know where the boss actually is gonna be. But you can see though, like clear-wise, this build is really comfy. It's very easy. Just slam and move, and it'll go tracking enemies out for you in front of it. And I've built it in a way to where I'm still reasonably thick, and even though I'm using replica abysses as well. So, like, you know, have a good amount of max resistances, have a good amount of armor, and using endurance charges and all that kind of good stuff. Like, still pretty thick for what this character is. An abyss. Kind of trying to avoid the abyss, but I sure walked right into it. Right. Very well. Actually, the boss might be right there as well. Should be good. Up. Anything cool? No. No, the boss. Maybe. Let's start up here. Boss, Moshi Moshi. Hello. What about in the corner up here? What about this way? Ah, there's the boss. Okay. Up. It is. It's both chonkers. Ow. Okay, I absolutely just stood there. That is something I have to always remember as well with this character is basically get like an attack or two out first, and then start doing your war cries, then start kind of actually setting that up. Oh, you put out your... What's that out to? Okay, that was laser. Damage-wise, though, actually pretty good. I keep forgetting to put the stability scarabs in here. Should actually be incredibly helpful. Woo! Oh. Okay, synthesis boss is down, so we should be pretty good now. I say should. We still very well might die. Oh god. Oh god. Yep, like that. Yep. Yep. I did not notice him turning the other way. He was turning the other cheek and I wasn't ready for it. Yeah. Okay. When I'm not when I'm not getting one tapped by things after I just said I'm tanky and everything. But overall, yeah, though the build is still very solid. I still wouldn't call that a bad showcase. I just happen to be bad at the game. Regardless, though, build very strong, very fun. And with that, we can kind of we'll kind of just roll into itemization, I do believe. Per usual as well, I forgot to mention this at the start, but I will have the POB for the character down below if you're curious and want to take a look. So I will have the character down lower for your viewing pleasure, as it were. But with that, we'll kind of roll into the items, and then we'll go into the actual tree, and then we will finish off with just like some next thoughts about where I would go with the character, if anything, and yeah, we'll just kind of leave it at that. So, like I showed at kind of the start of the video, we have a two-handed mace with the weapon fizz damages, extra damage of each element. The fracture is very expensive, and so is that runecraft. That runecraft is, I think, 4 power runes, which is what I think power runes are like 3 or 4 divines right now. So I'll let you do the math. Last I looked, they were like 3 or 4 divines. The base itself was, I think, 18 divines. Like, the base itself was not cheap, and then I literally just spammed the essences of contempt until it hit something that was pretty good. This would hit just attack speed and crit multi, and then I crafted the suffix. I could just exalt slam whatever it hits. It doesn't actually matter. But realistically, something that would make this even better would be if it also hit the prefix mod for increased fizz and increased accuracy. That's a prefix mod it can hit. That would just be even more physical damage. Obviously, would be even thicker of a mace, but I'm probably not going to hit that if I exalt slammed it. Though I probably still will at some point anyway. Regardless, this is what I'm working with for the time being. You could still just keep rolling contempts until you do hit that split, along with some attack speed and crit multi or something. And then in here, I'm just using the Seismic Cry. So as I was saying with the cries, we have Seismic Cry, some Urgent Orders just for War Cry speed, Intimidating Cry, Rallying Cry, and then this is just where I have Frost Blink. There is an extra slot here for something. I don't know what I'd put in there, really. But yeah, I just have all of these going off. You could reasonably, I guess, if you wanted to use, what is it, Auto Exertion? I think you could also use that. I mean, you'll miss out on some of the buffs from, like, Seismic Cry giving you more armor and whatnot, and I don't really think it's that big of a deal to every now and again just tap this and then exert your attacks. So, up to you on if that playstyle really annoys you, then swap out Urgent Orders for Auto Exertion. These will all just go off, and you won't have to think about it, and you'll have your cries up for exerting. Other than that, got like I was saying, Replica Abyssus. This is not a terrific roll. Realistically, obviously, as you see, it goes 40 to 50 increased elemental damage taken. This is like a mid roll for that, and also a mid roll on the crit multi. So this could certainly be a lot better if you had, obviously, 40% increased elemental damage taken and more crit multi and maybe more armor as well. But overall, it's still at least decent, and it was just one that I happened to have. This was kind of a bit of a test when I first put this on, but now just kind of let it sit. But this, could always be better. Inside here, they would just have auras, so we got Precision, Herald of Ash, Determination, and Enlighten. Herald of Ash here just because of the fizz as extra fire. Then we have a amulet-wise, just using a Lapis amulet. I really needed the increased intelligence. I forgot originally, even when I was making this character, when it was originally Cleave, I forgot that they removed the physical skill tag from a majority of attack, if not all attacks. I can't remember. It's a majority or all of them. So I happened to roll this. It's not terrific. It really isn't. But I thought in my head, I still was locked in with the, Cleave has +1 fizz, so that'll be really good. It sure doesn't. Volcanic Fissure has fire. Cleave of Rage does not have physical on it, so this literally just gives +1 to Determination, I'm pretty sure. But at this point, I already crafted the aspect of the cat on it. It at least does what it needs to do, so I'm just gonna leave it. I still needed it for the intelligence and everything, but this could be way better. You'd get a better max life roll. The element resistances are still good, and then you'd still need to craft aspect of the cat either here or on your ring, whatever you wanted to do. I just decided that this was going to be the best slot for it. Also, I'm gonna turn the music a little bit more. I'm very professional, as you can tell. Anyway, so then with that, we just have a Mark of the Elder here, which is corrupted with plus all elemental resistances. I was really struggling to get to fill all my resistances, and that did remain to be the case. So the roll here is pretty decent, 76%, and then all resistances, that's all that I was really trying to go, and then just some other generic plus attack, plus damage to attack. So this is actually still a very good ring, and still a very good thing to have. It does increase your damage by a pretty good margin. And then, of course, because we want the increased attack damage if the other item is a Shaper item, so we have a Shaper Amethyst ring here for the increased Chaos Res. It just has some generic life and then some other resistances on it. It's decent. It's not perfect. Obviously, the life roll could be better. If that was increased armor or something, that would be even more better, but that's not really a sentence there, but regardless, I digress. Decent ring, still does what it needed to do. Mostly was just concerned about getting resistances on it, which is what I hit. So now this is that's my ring setup there. Boot wise, I'll go to chest piece last. Boot wise here, very generic boots, move speed, life, resistances, armor, whatever else. These aren't terrific. And then just Fizz as extra elemental damage is what you want in the implicits, along with just move speed or action speed there. Action speed is definitely better, but move speed still works. Mark on hit support with Assassin's Mark and Life Tap. It's only level 17 because I do not have enough intelligence to level it higher, so that's where it's sitting. And then, of course, Blood and Sand. This isn't a level 6 Blood and Sand yet, but it is what it is. Belt-wise here, again, same thing. The increased attribute modifiers, again, just ignore that. That doesn't actually matter. Just has a good amount of life, resistances, the usual stuff. Increased flash duration is actually good because we are taking Pathfinder as well on our Forbidden Flame and Flesh. So this is decent. You could also get, since it's a hunter base, you could also hit the increased maximum life roll and then instead quality it with life modifiers, and that would be a lot better. Further side jewel in here, accuracy, life, all res, just a lot of flat added damage as well to mace attacks. And then over here we got gloves. Gloves again, we got Mole Shell with automation and more duration, and then Leap Slam is where that's going. And then in here, just again, same thing. Life, resistances, accuracy, armor, whatever you need to fill. Take some increased attack speed there. If you want to, I think there is the, I could replace the Fizz converted to fire with, oh man, what is it? Trying to think of what it is. This converts 60%, right? Yeah, this converts 60. You could replace that with exposure of some kind, but I have exposure for all three elements, so that doesn't really matter. So this area is kind of the Eater of World side is a bit of a gray area. You could instead just do attacks have a chance to maim, just because maim is at least decent, slow everybody down. And then lastly here, though, like I was saying, and the reason why we have Aspect of the Cat crafted is for Replica Feral's Fur. I realistically just happened to drop this out of a Grand Heist, and I went, okay, I guess I'm making a build with this. I've never dropped this thing before. Let's go. So Replica Feral's Fur here is still very, very strong. Very, very cool item as well. And if you're wondering why the skin is like this on it, this is just a skin I got forever ago. This is what it looks like by default, although you can't really tell because of the agility. Yeah, I have a skin from it from forever ago, so I think that looks cool. Anyway, though, Feral's Fur Replica, the big thing is when you gain Cat's Agility, you gain up to your maximum Frenzy and Endurance charges, and also you gain Onslaught when you have Cat's Agility. So you get to kind of really zoom around a good bit while you have Cat's Agility, and obviously you get all your charges, which is really, really strong as well to have. Flask-wise, pretty usual stuff. Divine Life Flask, Bottle of Faith with a Quicksilver, Diamond, and a Granite Flask. Very quick note as well, like I was saying, the weapon is really expensive. Feral's Fur Replica, I think, is also really expensive. Last I looked, this was about 8 Divines. Maybe this has gone down a little bit in price, but about 8 Divines. The Mark of the Elder is pretty cheap. Most of the rest of the stuff is relatively cheap, although if you get a 40% increased elemental damage taken Replica Abyssus, that's also rolled well. That'll be another couple Divines. Bottle of Faith, if you go that route, is like 6 Divines or something last I looked. But if you don't want to use Bottle of Faith, what you could use is Wise Oak. I was using this previously, actually. You could use Wise Oak if you wanted to go that route. There's another couple other things you could go. You could go at Ziri's. Oh, I forget what her flask is. It's a Ziri's flask. Anyway, the Amethyst flask. That would also be very solid. Not a bad idea to take either. So you have options as far as flask go if you did not want to go Bottled Faith. Also, you don't necessarily have to do this as a Scion. Also, I'm just going back into Portal just so I don't lose this. You don't have to do this build as a Scion as well. The main reason I did Scion is just because I had a Scion sitting around, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do something with it. But you could just as easily do this as a Inquisitor. You could do it where you're just stacking crit. You ignore any kind of penetration. You're just focused on dealing as much elemental damage as possible and going crit. That would be completely fine. So you could do it as Inquisitor. You could do it as pretty much anything Marauder-wise. Juggernaut, Berserker, or Chieftain all have very, very good options to go for this build that would also work. You could do this as a Duelist. That's the base. You'd probably do it as a Slayer. Yeah, I don't really think of a reason you'd go as, like, Champion, but you could definitely do it as, like, Slayer and still be very, very well off and very set. You could even do it as a Warden if you really wanted to as well. You could do as go Ranger and go Warden with this, and you would also be in a very good spot, and I wouldn't blame you. It would still be very good. You would take the Scorch Nodes and the Avatar stuff, and probably still be very, very solid. With that, though, we'll roll into the tree. Like I said, I happen to have a Scion, and so that was what we're going with. So we'll roll right into the tree here with this character now. So, as you see, we are taking Champion, and we're taking Path of the Duelist, and then we're also taking Juggernaut. I took this for a little bit of tank, and just for the not have to worry about accuracy being chilled or stunned, and the increased damage with endurance charges, and just kind of a bit more consistently getting endurance charges than having to wait for Cat's agility. Also kind of nice, but you could just as easily go Inquisitor for Scion. You could just as easily go Warden for Scion. You could probably take Elementalist realistically, just because of the exposure and the shock, and not being able to take reflected elemental damage would all be very good things. So there are other options you could go. You could probably even go Trickster realistically if you wanted. You could even go Sabo. I wouldn't even fault you for going Sabo, honestly. Assassin would also be good, just because of more crit stuff. So plenty of options, any which way you want to go. I just wanted to go for a little bit of tank and a little bit more safety. For that, though, we are taking the Scion life wheel here because more life is always good. We're just grabbing as much life as we can, taking Constitution over here, and then we're pretty much not paying attention to anything else up here. You could maybe take this Jewel Socket if you wanted. Put like an Unnatural Instinct here, I think is what it's called. You put an Unnatural Instinct right here. That's a pretty good little wheel setup right in this slot here. That'll give you a lot of good things. But otherwise, we're taking Duelists. So we're going down here, Duelist starting point. Coming over, taking some of the really good stuff like Destroyer here. And we've got Bravery, Art of the Gladiator. We do have a Lethal Pride right here that is hitting a bunch of nodes. It hits the 3, 4 right here, 5, 6 here, 7 here. Yeah, so it just hits a lot of really, really good nodes. The only thing that's unfortunate is we can't take, oh man, I'm forgetting the name of it. The thing that converts all of your evasion into armor. I'm forgetting the name of the keystone right now. I'm blanking. So we unfortunately can't take it. This covers just enough to get rid of that for us. But otherwise, we're kind of just taking, like I said, we're speccing very little into Warcries. I don't think you need to take a whole lot. Admonisher here just feels nice. It gives us increased damage when we're about to fight a boss or some kind of big target. It gives us the increased Warcry speed alongside Urgent Orders, so it kind of comes out really fast. We don't have to really think about it or do too much. We're taking a little bit more accuracy here, and then obviously, again, because we're Replica Abyssus, we're taking Prismatic Skin. We're just trying to get as much resistances here as we can. This Cluster Jewel here is just flat elemental damage, and we have Corrosive Elements for the exposure and elemental damage. Prismatic Heart, again, elemental damage all res. And Disorienting Display, so that we blind enemies, makes us a little bit harder to hit, which is always good. And then medium cluster-wise, we have just a Basics of Pain and Quick Getaway. You could also set this to a Exertion, a Warcry Cluster Jewel. I think it's like Cry Wolf and something else. I can't remember what the other thing for this would be on a Warcry Cluster Jewel, but you easily could do that. And then here we just have some good, generically good. Actually, a lot of our jewel sockets are taken up and they're all really, really good, and they're hard to replace. So this one here, it's just good for Corrupted Blood immunity. You could easily take Corrupted Blood immunity here, or get it on a different jewel, but Corrupted Blood immunity, very good. This has armor and life on it, and melee crit, so all very good things to be looking for. Like I said, we're taking the Pathfinder, Forbidden Flame, and Flesh. I discovered that they were extremely cheap. Like, I think it cost me maybe 120C to buy both halves, which absolutely shocked me. I'm used to that being incredibly expensive. It was ridiculously cheap. So that was definitely a route I was going to go, because having more uptime on your flasks is very, very comfortable. We also get some increased move attack speed during class, and we don't really have to worry about bleeding either, which is all just very, very nice. Otherwise, just kind of standard attack stuff. We're taking some crit here, taking the stuff there. We have the Disciple the Slaughter here for more damage per frenzy charges. Just in general, just kind of a good thing to have. Gives us attack speed as well. We're taking the Culling Strike against marked enemy here. There might be a better slot for us to get attack damage leashed as mana, but I have not really remembered or figured out where that slot would be. If there is a better slot for it, definitely just remove this mastery. But as it stands right now, oh, you know what? I wonder if there's even I wonder if there's a tattoo even that does it. I can't recall. If there is a tattoo for it, then do that. Or if you have another way to get it, attack damage leashes mana, like maybe if you instead did a two-handed mace, or a mace cluster jewel here, and you got a, what is it, Fuel the Fight? I think if you got Fuel the Fight, you just went that route instead, then you can remove that point. This is unfortunately the closest elemental mastery that there is. The other one is like up here. So I wanted to come up here and take this anyway, because Primeval Force is still really good. We do have our flasks up all the time, basically. So that's also, you know, really good damage uptime. And then we're taking have chance to flip enemy resistance values, which is, again, still very good. Take the life node on the way, all that good stuff. Culling Strike on marked enemies, because we're marking people. And then up here, the last kind of like important thing is just the Impossible Escape here. This is about 3 divines, I believe. Possible Escape here for Avatar of Fire actually hits some really nice things for us. We can take Blacksmith's Clout, which just gives us a good bonus here. We got Butchery here that gives us a good bonus. We can take Magmatic Strikes. This one's kind of up in the air as to if you actually want to use it. I decided I would take Magmatic Strikes. And Nomadic Teachings, also very, very nice for us. Plus more max reses just means we're in a better slot. I'm actually not capped on lightning res. I'm off by 1% right now. I don't really know where I can fix that. I could probably fix it somewhere, but I don't know where it is off the top of my head. So overall, though, very, very, very good. Pretty tanky. Like, we get to be in a pretty damn good spot where we are right now. Like I said, level 94, I really was cruising the last like day or two. I went from 88 to 94 within, you know, the last just like day, and I was just really really cruising, really having a ton of fun with this character. I've been having a ton of fun with this league, and I've really been wanting to do something with Volcanic Fissure of snaking. So yeah, I think that's basically that's as much as I have on this character as it stands right now. Next steps, if I were to level this character some more, I think if I were to level this character some more, the next few things I could think of to reasonably do would be either just throw levels until you get Ribcage Crusher. That's that's a pretty good node. You could take the Warcry Mastery for either minimum power or recover life when you use a Warcry. That's just generically good. You could take the extra endurance charge up here if you wanted to do that. You could, if you wanted to as well, put move this Forbidden Flesh just like here for now or something, and then expand out and put on a second medium cluster here. Maybe just do another either crit one or a, like I was saying, the Exerted, the Warcry one. You could put one over here. And that's probably about all that I would do with the character. Like, you know, it's 94. It's not like you have a ton of points left to play with. You could reasonably look for a better Lethal Pride. Since I originally did not have this character as a Volcanic Fissure character, not everything that is set here is really as I originally intended it to be. These weren't all the nodes I originally had. I've added some, I've taken away some, so it's still a decent lethal pride, but you could probably find one that's a little bit better with either more double damage or melee crit multi or melee crit chance. So plenty of options, still plenty of ways to improve, and plenty of ways to move forward. The Abyssus is another big deal. The Mallet could be bigger. Yeah, you have tons of options still to move and improve the character, but that's all I have for now. As per usual, I hope you've been having a good time with Settlers of Calgary. This has been such a fun league. I probably have at least one more character. I have at least one more character, I think, that I'm going to have a video out for sometime soon. And then after that, I'm not sure. My plans are... my plans after that, as much as I would love to just keep playing Path of Exile, what I'm probably going to do is there is the expansion for Diablo 4, and as much as I'm sure it's going to disappoint me, I will still play it, just to try it. I already bought it, might as well play it. So I will probably be playing that for a little bit. I honestly kind of expect to be disappointed, so who knows, maybe I'll have fun for like a week or something. But I'll play that, and then after that, I'm kind of going to be busy for a while. And so I don't really anticipate that I'll be able to get many more videos or characters really put together as much as I would like to, because there are actually some more items I have kind of sitting in my stash that I think would be a lot of fun to make another build around and make another character around, but I just don't think I'll reasonably have the time, because I think once the D4 expansion launches, I'm going to be busy until the launch of Path of Exile 2 pretty much. And then, of course, once PoE 2 comes out, I will indeed be slamming that like none other, and I will be playing the crap out of it. I'll probably have some videos up just on maybe things I learned, maybe things I figure out. If I find a really fun build to do, then I'll probably have a video out for that. But at the very least, I'll probably try to start putting out some... way to go, Steve! I'll try to start putting out some videos on Path of Exile 2 as that comes out. But regardless, that's all I have for now. So I hope you enjoy. Per usual, POB down below. And I will see you next time. Bye now.